Welcome. I'm Dr. Darlene Chambers, Senior Vice President for the National Charter Schools Institute. This course answers the question above on the screen. What are Authorizer's best practices for monitoring agreed upon performance metrics? A very important question. This entire course introduces Authorizer tiered intervention processes and practices to address charter school performance improvement areas over the course of a charter school contract. Participants will be introduced to intervention tools and templates and will be able to apply what they learn to draft or refine existing charter school performance and oversight practice policies, provide technical assistance for those using tiered intervention and corrective action plans to remedy contract performance deficiencies. Let's get started in developing that shared understanding of performance metrics and contract expectations by first considering the National Association for Charter School Authorizers. NACSA believes great authorizers make decisions based on what will drive student outcomes, not based on bureaucratic checking of boxes or personal beliefs. It's all about the facts, it's about data, and it's about common artifacts. In case you're not familiar with NACSA's principles and standards, the principles were written as suggested bedrock values and meant to articulate a set of beliefs about quality authorizing. What are those three principles? Let's maintain high standards for our students and parents in our charter schools. Don't forget to uphold charter school autonomy while doing any monitoring of performance. Let's protect student and public interest always, which includes equal access, sound board governance, transparency, and ethics, to name a few. NACSA's standards identify core quality authorizer responsibilities and how the principles that we just went over are upheld, including authorizer agency commitment and capacity, application process and decision making, and what we're talking about today, performance contracting, as well as ongoing oversight, evaluation, and revocation renewal decision making, because each one of our contracts will have a term, and it is our hope collectively that we're prepared to take a look at the contract at the end of the term. This course will have Wisconsin authorizers considering the performance contracting, ongoing oversight, and evaluation recommendations. To do this, participants will be asked to review that section of the NACSA principles and standards. NACSA does believe that a quality authorizer executes contracts that always articulates rights and responsibilities of each party, including oversight, outcome, measures for evaluating success or failure, performance, consequences, and other material terms. It's not about surprises. It's about solid agreements up front to build success and performance in our schools, quality performance. Along with that, we have the Wisconsin best practices that were written in 2015 when the law in Wisconsin changed. It was about addressing, considering the NACSA principles and standards we just went over. And it was also about meeting with different authorizers throughout the state to say, how do we deliver quality authorizing? The outcome of the best practices when looking at performance and accountability monitoring, and oversight were a recommendation for streamlined accountability systems, clearly stated rights and responsibilities, defined performance criteria, and conditions for renewal upfront, so you knew at the beginning, at the term of a contract, how it is you could have it renewed successfully. Clarified conditions for consequences of intervention, and I look at intervention positively. It's about continuous improvement. What happens if an issue develops? How can we together figure it out and get back on course? In case we don't, there's the conditions of revocation that would be nice to know at the beginning of a contract what would activate that, and then what would cause non-renewal. Because again, at the beginning, we want to know how to build success. This is very important to understand. It's a blurred line. How does an authorizer monitor the contract that we're discussing versus supporting the school and the school board for meeting the contract terms? What's the difference? Are they the same? Let's go to monitoring first. Monitoring is all about the oversight, the progress checking of the metrics of what you agreed upon, visiting the school. The focus is on compliance with relevant state and federal laws, as well as terms of the contract. It's important that the authorizer remember autonomy of the school, not try to run the school on behalf of the board, but rather provide oversight and guidance about the metrics that were stated. The support is in the world of developing policy, process training, what we call lovingly technical assistance, and we provide it while we're connecting the individuals to resources. It could be the authorizer reaches out to the school itself and connects dots to important consultants, or to the board, school board itself. An example being if there's a financial need for a treasurer, giving a list of those treasurers that the board can easily pick among, and being a dot connector. Monitoring is oversight with compliance, and support is technical guidance. What are the intervention Wisconsin authorizer best practices guidance? Let's tune in and focus on the communicated intervention policy. The optimal word there is communicated. Some authorizers opt to have a best practice. I'm solidly recommending that a policy be developed, articulated, and voted on by the authorizer board and attached to the contract. Adequate, evidence-based, and timely notice of an intervention need. Again, there may be an improvement area, an area of concern, or perhaps a deficiency that must be addressed on behalf of the students and parents. Reasonable remedy time. If the authorizer has in the policy that a notice will be issued, it's very important for the school and its board to figure out how much time they have to address it and the opportunity for remediation. And technical guidance, there it is again, that's support for identifying what needs to be remedied. Autonomy, autonomy, autonomy. What does that mean? It means the authorizer doesn't do it, doesn't prescribe the solutions, but provides as much guidance as possible to allow the school to be autonomous in its selection of remedy. It's time to ask and share. We've covered the NACSA principles and standards. We've covered the best practices as written by the state of Wisconsin, both of which in addressing intervention and the need for it, addressing performance contracting, addressing the difference between monitoring and support. So take a moment, catch your breath. This is time to reflect. I'm going to ask a question and walk you through it. First question, what authorizer activities below best describe the monitoring actions of a quality authorizer? A little bit of some trick questions here, but never fear, I'll walk you through it. I want you to check all that apply. Again, which of these 4 bullet points, training guidance provided to charter schools to understand the authorizer's tiered intervention policy, or site visit to inform the annual report, ongoing progress checking of school performance metrics, giving a list of potential consultants who could assist the school with facilities expansion to the school board chair. So again, which of those 4 is monitoring, is a monitoring type of activity for an authorizer? Take a moment. You were right if you said a site visit to inform the annual report. A site visit is the authorizer going out to the school itself, taking the contract, taking a look at those performance metrics and expectations, and matching the observations of the artifacts at the school with the contract and the expectations to see how the school is doing. That should be a lively and good conversation and important guidance. Ongoing progress checking of school performance metrics. Again, you're right if you thought that was monitoring. Key is monitoring and oversight is an activity that you do with the school to double check its current contract expectations, meeting those metrics, and during the term of the contract. The other 2 is technical assistance. Just a little guide for you to remember, training as technical assistance. No matter if it's on a policy, a practice, on the contract, whatever you deem as professional development, to cue back to the expectations is good technical assistance from an authorizer. I like to be a dot connector. I like to see authorizers being a dot connector. So providing lists of potential consultants and service providers is a great way of providing support for your quality schools that an authorizer oversees. The question we began with is how we're going to end this video. What are authorizer best practices for monitoring agreed upon performance metrics? I hope you got your answer. You may have some other ideas to share. Do so at this time.